Hello and welcome to Writing Escapades. My name's David Rawding, and today I'm going to be introducing my writing group. My writing group is called the Seacoast Writers Guild. The Seacoast Writers Guild is made up of myself and three awesome dudes who love to write. So while we were on a writing retreat, we went for a walk and decided why not introduce ourselves to the world.
Seacoast Writers Guild, the best guild for Seacoast writers.
So this is the Seacoast Writers Guild. We've got Ian
R. Mitchell.
He's got a book release, or a novelette release really quickly.
Yeah. It's a 20-pager, 2 poops length of reading. Runfire, exhilarating. Check it out on Amazon, 99 cents.
I'll put a link below. And then we've got some more gentlemen here. I think we're panning on Matt.
Me. Oh, hi there.
There you are. There's Matt.
Matt Martell. Been in the Writers Guild since the beginning, and just finished my second novel yesterday, so pretty psyched.
That's awesome.
Yes,
We're
sir.
super pumped.
Yep.
Awesome.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
And then Mr. Rob.
Rob Schlosser, one of the founding members of the Guild as well, and happy to be here and happy to be writing.
Awesome.
Hang on.
So I guess we'll just start walking, but we're out in New Hampshire, kind of inland a little bit, and we're on a rail trail, and just kind of figured we're doing a writing retreat, and it's kind of the end of it. Just kind of want to introduce to you guys the Seacoast Writing Guild. And yeah, basically today we're just going to walk for a little bit, and then I kind of want to ask a couple questions. First question anybody can kind of answer, or you all can kind of answer. So I'm the most recent, member of the Seacoast Writers Guild, but these guys started it, so.
Probably like 12 years ago?
Yeah, about 12 years ago. It was born originally of a book club.
Yep.
And then a couple pints into a meeting, I think one of us was brave enough to ask the group if anybody had tried this writing thing themselves.
Yep. Yeah.
And we all awkwardly raised our hands at being interested in this, and then walked down the hallways of our school naked on the following meeting when we exposed our writing to each other for the first time, printed out with handwritten notes, live reading in person at the pub.
Yes.
Yep.
I think the first time I knew it was going to work was we all did like a chapter of a story we were writing, and we went out to review the chapters, and we went out to a bar to do the review, and I thought it was just going to be a drinking session, as they normally turn out to be, but it ended up being highly productive writing session, writing review, and that's when I was like, oh, this thing might stick.
Yeah, kind of like our writing retreats where we go out to write and we actually get writing done, which is miraculous when we have a weekend of freedom and all kinds of temptations at our disposal. Yet we seem to deliver when we do this, which is awesome.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate because it started, the 3 of us and now the 4 of us are good friends otherwise, but it was so cool to discover this new creative outlet that we all had but had never come out of the closet and told each other, and I can't believe that it sustained itself as long as it has. It's been just an awesome thing in my life.
Same here.
Sure.
Yep. And we were talking about it earlier today too. It's really great thing to keep you motivated, because there are times when one of us is writing a lot and the others can't, and there are other times when you can't write a lot but your other group members are writing a lot, and it really motivates you to write more and just keep on it. Even if you have a little bit of a lag for 5 or 6 months, it's still always there. You're always reminded of what the other group is doing, and what you're capable of.
He's currently carrying all the weight right now, but but we've all kind of had our shots in the sun, and we're happy that there's somebody to kind of keep us motivated and keep us going. And it really does. Writing's competitive. I've always thought it's been competitive, but it's a good competition, and I think it helps everybody. We're all kind of, high tide raises all ships. I think we're all getting better, and just, I don't know, I feel like I love it just as much now as when I first started, and it's great.
I see the epitome of a healthy competition.
Yeah.
I think it's obvious when we go on these writers retreats, we are all really excited to just have a weekend to write and just have that quiet time. We could be doing other things, but we all enjoy writing so much that that's what we do. We kind of stick to it on these weekends.
So Dave, I know you wanted to ask us to all talk about what we're great at as writers. But we're all way too modest for that. I
Yeah.
think it would be more fun
We
to
add
talk
each other.
about what we think of each other's writing strengths.
Yes, I agree.
Since we've all kind of found our voice over time together and know each other's strengths and weaknesses and styles quite intimately
I love that.
at this point. And Matt being the one celebrating the completion of novel number 2 that we've gone through the experience together with, I think we ought to start
Yep.
with some of the things that I think Matt is exceptional at, beyond just charging ahead with word count and carrying the weight of the team recently.
I'd love to hear it.
His prose is very artful. It's deeply immersive. His sense of setting and wonderment is top-notch. And he puts characters in really interesting situations where you're very compelled to want to find out what's going to happen next.
I guess I'll go next. What I like about Matt is that he is really good when he's writing a story about setting up something that he's going to promise. So basically he's going to set this promise, and as a reader you're waiting for the scene to pop or this character to develop in that way, and he doesn't let you down. On top of that, his descriptions are just like, especially with his nautical stuff, man, he is dialed. You guys can attest.
It's fun to write. I enjoy it. I enjoy reading those scenes, so they're fun to write too. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that jumps out to me is what a great job he does establishing setting through prose and through, even through dialogue is really strong. Like, the flow of his dialogue sections are just terrific. And almost every chapter, at least on his current work, he opens with setting, and it just has this really nice way of establishing where you are in the world. You feel very grounded as a reader.
Yep.
Even in a rough draft, you just feel like you know this world that he's building. He's just got a terrific imagination and way of setting that up. And it just makes it a joy to read.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's how I usually start my chapters, because I'm not sure how to. Sometimes I'm not sure how to kick it off, so I just want to describe the setting and the scene that I'm visualizing in my head. And as I'm describing it, then the action kind of naturally kind of flows from the description of the setting.
Right. So for you, it's a trick.
It's a kick.
But
For me, it's a trick to
Yeah.
kickstart the chapter.
yeah, but it works well for your readers as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So Matt, why don't you tell us what you think about Dave's writing, the man of the pod?
Yes.
Dave's writing. It is such a thrill to watch Dave, because I know he's published, like he knows the ins and outs of the industry, but it's so fun to watch him think through what his characters are going to do, and then to see it happen on the page. And Dave's very well traveled, he's a Renaissance man who knows a lot about a lot of things, and that's kind of incorporated into his work. Like your current novel takes place overseas, and you've been there, and you know what it feels like and smells like and tastes like, and you do a fantastic job of putting that on the page, so it's highly believable as a reader when I'm reading your stuff. It's good stuff.
Appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, Dave writes thrillers, and I love thrillers. He writes different types of thrillers throughout his work. You should check it all out. It's awesome. And what I really love is, beyond the action and tension and pacing that's kind of inherent to that genre, Dave has a knack for pulling out the kind of quirky details that really make a character or a setting pop. And it makes it a lot easier to slip into kind of deep reading mode when you can get hooked into something that's just a relatable thought inside someone's head, or a tick that they might have in their character. And he tucks these in all over the place in his writing. And so while you're on this thrill ride of an adventure and a mystery of action and everything going on, it's easy to slip into the character's perspective and get a sense of where they're coming from. It's really great stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, your superpower, Dave, you've got a few. The first is your pacing and your sensibility towards creating forward action and wanting your readers to stay hooked is just on point. Like, even we're reading rough drafts here, guys, right, in a writer's group. Yeah. And even then, like so much of your stuff is a page turner because you just have this really unique ability to parse out what's going to hook us. You know, these characters are really popping, your dialogue is on point, and just pacing wise, I just read your chapters and they just fly by.
Yep.
You also have this background as an editor and a professor, and so you've been really, it shows up in your work. You have a really good sensibility around structure and, you know, how to miss certain, you know, prevent certain mistakes from happening, and then you bring those to bear in the writers group, which is awesome.
Yep.
And I just, yeah.
Even the
definitely.
drafts feel like a polished read.
Totally, yeah.
Appreciate that, guys.
Ian Mitchell's writing. I'll start with Ian.
All right.
Ian has such a unique style, and his descriptions are so on point and visceral, and he's not afraid to go to unexpected places in his writing. Mm-hmm. Ian's pacing is always amazing. It always feels like you're being brought to a new place every time you're reading, and the description is just unbelievable. Ian does such a good job of describing the little things in an economy of words while he's keeping the story moving forward. And it's always, like, Runfire came out and I thought that was phenomenal. It was so fast paced, but it was such a clean read at the same time that I know I'm going to get that every time with Ian. It's always fun to read.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, and for me, Ian's got, I mean, we've been friends for a while, but his sense of humor is so delectable and a little out there and wacky at times, which I love. But that comes through in his writing so clearly because you get this, it's like he's just putting all his creativity out there on the page and we get to enjoy it. And so he's putting his characters and his plot lines in these wacky or bizarre or dark situations. And I just love, like, he's like, I don't know, just got this expansive imagination that we get to enjoy. And it's by far your best superpower. Like, you are writing really unique stuff. And oh, by the way, no character is safe from, from dismemberment, death, or some other horrific end, which I appreciate.
Yes.
A lot of your stuff has this dark red,
Yes.
which is just delicious.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know where it's going to go.
Yep.
It's so fun.
I like how I would describe his writing as courageous. I mean, he does stuff and he tries stuff that, you know, it's scary to try, you know, as a writer, especially as if you're a new writer, you know, you're timid, you write what you know, and, you know, you do that kind of stuff. But really, I think with people like Ian, he finds his sweet spot when he pushes boundaries, when he digs into his characters so deep and just like, and pull stuff out of them that you just never saw coming. I think that's where the magic is. I think that's where the writing is, and I think I also love his brutality.
Yeah.
He's got a level of grimdark that he can pull out if he needs to.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it excessively, which would be, you know, just over the top. He does it when it needs to be done for character development, and I love that stuff. I love reading that stuff, so it's always a pleasure.
I want my readers to feel all the feels. That justifies the means, all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So says every evil overlord.
Yes.
He twists his mustache.
Yes.
To the torture rack.
So this handsome gentleman behind us, Mr. Schlosser, should not be overlooked amongst the guild here. Rob is a pillar, an anchor member of the team, and whether it's bringing out levity in a writing session or absolutely sucking us into a new, extremely imaginative, action-packed world, it's always fun to see what Rob is cooking. I joke with him oftentimes when I'm reading his chapters that he would have the highest special effects budget of any of us. If anything were ever to be made of his work, it would be Michael Bay on steroids with, you know, the magic and awe and wonder of Middle Earth and everything else tucked in between. He doesn't hold back. He's creative. He works comedy into his work like nobody else can in this group. And it's really fun because he's coming up with new ideas all the time and always exploring them and pushing the boundaries.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I agree. And how I said you kind of have a thread of dark running through yours. Rob always seems to have a thread of levity running through his stories. Like it's a very unique brand of writing and your comedy in your writing. That's just, I always know I'm going to get a chuckle when I'm reading. At least at some point in your writing, I'm going to get a chuckle. And lately, especially with your short stories, it's like I'm really impressed. You crank out these short stories like an economy of words, but you get a pretty compact, complete story within those words. And I also want to point out, Rob's fantastic at writing action.
Yeah.
Especially, I know you haven't done as much of that recently, but in some of your earlier work, your action scenes are still up there and rummaging around in my head. Like there may be something I read 10 years ago, but they're still there, and that's a sign of good writing. I visualized it so well that it's still occupying space up there.
Because I want to be an action hero, even though I never will be. So I can only do it through the writing.
I've forgotten entire movies that I've seen more recently than some of the action scenes that you wrote 10 years ago.
Yes, right.
I mean, literally we were walking earlier and we see something that's part of his book, part of his, novella. And yeah, it definitely sticks with you. And I don't think I've ever probably read your stuff without kind of chuckling to myself. This morning I was just like, just every other line, I'm just kind of chuckling and like, and comedy is, I mean, as any comedian would tell you, is hard to write. Like, I mean, it's extremely hard to write. And I think in fiction and prose and stuff like that, it's a challenge. I'm not great at it. I never have been, but I feel like when I do get laughs, it's just by accident. I never expected it to happen, but you do it with such intention and like,
pulls it off.
And you can also tell that you have a journalism background because your stuff is tight.
Yep.
It's like a drum. It's tight. Like it reads super well. You don't waste time on words or extra storylines or plots that aren't going anywhere in your drafts, which is a huge thing. But your stuff comes out and it's almost like it's fairly finished product. I don't, especially with the short stories. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. Very kind.
Cheers to another gloriously successful writing retreat.
Yep.
One of the best things you can find yourself doing. We were very fortunate.
We are indeed.
Yeah, if you can find yourself a writing group, find yourself a writing group. They're out there. I've been in several, but this one is just my my current one, and we're rocking it, and it's awesome. And writing retreat, get out of your norm, like find a place where you can go, and just even if it's an Airbnb or some friend's house, like that's what we're doing my sister's house. So if you know somebody and you can just get away from your normal element, sometimes that helps writing. I mean, it does for me, and we always do pretty well in producing during these times.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah, and you can hit the reset button on your motivation, your inspiration too. I know it's been super helpful for me if life is feeling too busy or not doing as much writing as you'd like. The retreat is, I mean, it gets you fired up, right? It is it is like the all-hands sales meeting of writing groups where you come out of this and you feel like you got a bunch of words down, you got a good idea of where you want to go from here. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard not to feel sometimes like you're hamster wheeling through life. To try to fit in productive writing time on top of that can be overwhelming and unproductive sometimes. So allowing yourself to change of scenery in the mental space and a minor lapse in the normal responsibilities day to day, it's a pretty magical thing.
Yeah, the group keeps the flame going, and these writers' retreats are like throwing logs on the fire. When you walk out of these retreats, you're newly fired up.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. This is the Seacoast Writers Guild. I'm Dave. That's Matt. That's Rob.
And I'm Ian.
That's Ian. And we're going to finish our walk. See you later.
Later.
Adios.
Cheers.